All right, we're live with Taylor
What
from
up? What up?
Ganda.io.
Yeah.
So, if you could introduce yourself, I think that would be a good way to start this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, YK, thanks again for having me on, man. I appreciate it. It means a lot. My name is Taylor Desseyn. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. I do not like country music. So don't ask me about country music, but I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. I've been, I guess you could say a recruiter, software engineering, for the last 12, 13 years. And so I've been able to place probably close to 1,000 people, with 1,000 engineers over the course of my career, been able to help hundreds, if not thousands of companies at this point in my career scale up their engineering teams. I'm a conference speaker, and keynote speaker, and I create a lot of content as well. So excited to be here, YK. Thanks for having me, man.
Of course, really appreciate you being here. And how did you get into recruiting in the first place?
So yeah, fell in. So getting involved in recruiting was kind of crazy. So, I fell into it like most people in recruiting. Most people don't leave college and be like, I want to go and be a recruiter. They kind of just fall into it. And that's what happened to me. So I moved to Nashville back in 2011 to pursue music. I'm a drummer, or was a drummer. Still am. I don't know if you can like ever like not be a drummer, but moved to Nashville to do music, and was serving tables 6 nights a week with me. I was serving 6 nights a week at a restaurant, not playing any music, losing money actually. And I grew up in the restaurant industry. My dad still runs a restaurant. He did very well for himself, for 25, 30 years, running, in the restaurant industry. And so I only knew nighttime jobs. And so when I moved to Nashville, I was serving tables and not playing music. I was like, so I was going to pick up another nighttime job. I only knew about nighttime jobs. And so there's a group of us that moved to Nashville, and there was this girl kind of in this group. And I was like, hey, who do you know in your network? Because she nannied for somebody. And I was like, who do you nanny for? In my mind, I was like, if that person can afford a nanny, I want to do what they do. And so she was like, well, she manages a recruiting team and they're looking for a recruiter. And I was like, well, I have no idea what the heck a recruiter is. So I was like, sure, give me that person's information. I'll call her. Called the front office, like front desk. I said, hey, I'd love to interview. And they go, come on in. I came in a week later, got the job offer, and the rest is history. So again, I mean, really the way I became a recruiter is I was broke and had no money and needed a day job so I can play music. And I kind of fell in love with recruiting almost more than music. And 13 years later, here we are, still doing the same thing.
Right, that's pretty amazing. So just quickly, you say you asked someone for the introduction. Who was it again?
Yeah, so it was this girl that moved up to Nashville. So there was a core group of us in my hometown that all kind of moved up, not together, but kind of in the same like 6-month window. And she was hanging out. We all hung out together, and I was like, and I knew she nannied for somebody, so I was like, who do you nanny for? And then she got me connected.
So it was basically just a friend.
Yeah, just a friend. Yep. It was
Right.
it was I was just asking, who do you know? Which again, I mean, I'm pretty passionate about, right? I think networking in today's world and trying to find a job in today's world is sometimes as simple as, hey, who do you know who I should talk to?
Right. That's pretty amazing. We're gonna, get into it. I love to dig into that, but I also see a couple comments on LinkedIn and Twitch. Welcome everyone. I see a particular question that we can kind of take a detour to answer here if you
Sure.
have a minute. What music do you play?
Yeah. So it was so if you want to look us up, we have a music video on YouTube. We have a few stuff on Spotify. It was a band called Cherry Case, CHERRYCASE. We're kind of like indie folk pop type thing. So yeah, it was good. Think if you know the band Dashboard Confessional, think Dashboard Confessional meets like a little bit of country, and that's what we were. So
Nice. You say you know nothing about country, but you played a little
Yeah,
bit
it
more
was
country.
well, so I know, right? My lead singer was influenced once he moved up here with a little bit of a country-esque. So our music kind of went a little bit more country. So yeah, musician and recruiter. So yep.
Cool. Okay, so getting back to the thing about asking your friend for a job or like ideas for a job, that's really, I mean, I think that's how most people get jobs nowadays, especially on the on the more senior end. Like on the entry level jobs, it's a little bit different. I feel like, um, but I'm kind of thinking part of it could have been the market itself, like compared to the market now. How was the job market then, or did you have any idea about
I
that?
had no idea, right? I mean, it was
Right.
crazy because like I had no idea how to find a job, let alone what the job market looked like. But I mean, listen, man, I still think the act of asking people, hey, who do you know, is a very underrated thing, right? When I was laid off, I was arguably, I mean, I arguably was on the job search for the first time in my professional career last year. I got laid off of the job I was at for 12 years. And man, the power of just messaging somebody and going, "Hey, who do you know?" Right? YK, if I knew you then, I probably would have DM'd you. Go, "Yo, YK, who do you know in your network who potentially may need somebody who does content, community, recruiting, all that stuff?" So again, it's very much of an underrated thing uh to leverage. Just, hey, who do you know? Who do you know?
Right. That's really cool, and it's people you already knew before, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I'm really passionate about, hey, reach out to strangers, right? Network with strangers, ask people, hey, who do you know? Who should I talk to? I'm a big fan of that. But I also think that I don't talk enough about just opening up your phone and just scrolling through your contacts and shooting people text messages. Right. And so again, I think it's very important. I would argue right now, based off the amount of people I've talked to in the job search, because of my job right now, the amount of people, everybody have said that they have found a job recently with somebody because somebody who they know. Very few people I've talked to have said they have found a job because they randomly applied or whatever. It's going to be from somebody who, like, I got the job at gun.io because I messaged a recruiter in my network to go have lunch. So
Right.
again, you're going to
Simple.
find the opportunities right now through the people you know.
Yeah. Kind of dig into that like a little bit more. You mentioned you have this practice of talking to someone you know and someone you don't know like every day, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I think the best format, if you're on the job search. So I consistently so I do one-on-one career coaching counseling sessions on the side. So if you're interested, then obviously shoot me a DM. But the most common themes I've seen is there's not enough outreach activity for your job search. A lot of people just rely on the mass applying to jobs, hoping somebody will come to them. And really, when it comes down to it, the outreach is the biggest thing. I talk about building a house. Listen, I am not um mechanically I'm trying to I'm not good with tools. I'm not handy. I'm not I don't do handy things, right? But I do know you don't build a house with just a screwdriver, right? You can't build a house with just a screwdriver. There's a lot of tools involved when it comes to building a house. It's the same thing with your job search. So many people are relying on the cold outreach, the cold applies. That's the equivalent of trying to build a house with a screwdriver, right? You can only go so far. So again, my biggest thing, activity, cold outreach, or just reach out to people in your network is incredibly, incredibly important.
Right. That's that it's always good to hear that you mention it because sometimes I see that like these LinkedIn posts or like other things like I've applied for 6,000
Yeah.
jobs and I only
Yeah.
got like 3 interviews. And I'm like, maybe you should try a different approach.
Yeah. I think Yeah, I mean, listen, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Like, I think a lot of us are being a little insane right now, and we're trying to build the house using the same screwdriver over and over and over again, and not even using a hammer, right?
Yeah.
And so, if something's not working for you in the job search, you got to pivot. You got to do something else, right? Like if applying to if you send in 300 applications and you've got nothing back, I'd probably stop doing that if I were you.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so we've been live for about 10 minutes. I think we can kind of get into the main portion. I mean, we've
Sure.
already kind of talked a lot
Sure.
about recruiting, but so first of all, what does a technical recruiter do?
Technical recruiting 101. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, boiled down to it, all we do, like our main job is to meet people. That's it. It's just to meet people.
Okay.
Now let's back up a little bit, right? There's two types of recruiters out there. Well, I'm sure there's more if you want to subsection it, but primarily there's two types of recruiters. There's your internal recruiters, right? Your internal recruiters work for the company internally. If you get reached out by a Google recruiter, that is an internal recruiter, a recruiter that works for the actual company. If you get reached out from a recruiter that works at Robert Half or Tech Systems, that is an agency recruiter, right? So I was in the agency recruiting space. So what does the agency model look like? Think Mad Men, right? The show Mad Men, right? An agency, you work with a bunch of different clients. That is what I was. We worked with a bunch of different clients as as an agency recruiter. I've told people this, and it is a mind-boggling stat if you really think about it. My goal, YK, was to meet 15 new people a week. Net new, 15. Easy math. See here, I'm gonna do it right now. 15 people a week times 52 weeks in a year. That's 780 people I was meeting a year. Now, that's not even like with conferences and meetups. This is just straight up meeting people. So, and I was doing that for 12 years. 9,000 people I have met over, and that is not even going to conferences and meetups. I started speaking at engineering conferences for the past 5 years, and I probably meet 100, 200 people for those tech conferences. So let's add another 1,000 people to that. That's 10,000 people I've met over the course of my career. And so that is what agency recruiters do. Agency recruiters are responsible for meeting as many people as they feasibly can and matching those people with jobs. Now, here's a fun little fact for you, YK. Recruiters can only really place 1 out of every 10 people they meet.
Right.
So remember what I told you at the beginning of the show? I said I've probably placed 1,000 people in jobs. Check the math here. What's 10% of that?
Yeah,
1,000 people.
Yeah.
And so agency recruiters are unbelievable networkers, and they see so much. That's why, like, I'm really bullish on it. I literally posted a piece of content. I have a piece of content going out this afternoon after this live about 3 questions you can ask recruiters to help you, even though they can't find you a job. What does my resume look like? How can I better my LinkedIn? What is one way I can level up my current skill set? And where do I stand salary-wise compared to other people in my skills? You can literally just network with recruiters and learn so much and essentially crowdsource job search intel to make your job search easier. And I feel like nobody leverages recruiters. You can, like, yes, they probably won't help you with the job, but they know so much more that can really help you on your job search.
Right. How do you even?
All right, that was a lot of information.
No, that's really cool, and like I have naturally like a couple follow-up questions
Yeah,
for
please.
those.
Please.
So 10,000 people, you say 1,000 of them, you meet at conferences. What about the other 9,000? Where
No,
do you
no, no,
meet
no.
them?
10,000 people I've met, 1,000 people I've placed in jobs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
so you talking
right,
about the other
10%.
9,000?
No, I'm talking about like where do you meet them? Do you meet
Oh,
them on LinkedIn?
gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So the other 9,000 people I'm not meeting at conferences, it is all through LinkedIn. All right. So let's talk about the evolution of this, right? Little story time. So when as an agency recruiter, you are taught to leverage tools like LinkedIn, Dice, Career Builder, Indeed, Monster, all the job boards, right? So when I was heavily recruiting in your traditional sense, I was logging on every day, getting on Dice recruiting, getting on Indeed recruiting, getting on Monster recruiting, and messaging people and calling people every day. And I was so YK, let's say I found your information on Career Builder. I would call you and go, yo, YK. Actually, I wouldn't say that. I said, hey, YK, my name's
Yeah.
Taylor. I'm a recruiter. I saw your resume on Dice. Do you have about 15 minutes for us to catch up right now? Just want to ask you some few quick questions on your job search. We would talk for 15 minutes. I'd say, YK, thanks again for hanging out with me. I will stay in touch. I will send you a job if I get a fit for you.
Wait. Okay, so we could
Yep.
keep going with that, but I really like the opening line there. It's like, do you have 15 minutes? It's like not a lot of commitment. That's
Right.
the idea, right? Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So we would chat. After we would chat, I would enter you in and your information on our call into our database, our CRM. Then what I would do is I would put your information on an Excel spreadsheet that I would keep up with. That YK is really good. YK is a really good React Node developer, right? Senior React Node developer. If I get any spots for YK, I'm going to call him. So then a week later, I get a senior React Node engineer spot, paying the salary range you want. I'm going to call you, YK, yo, I just got a role. Let me run it by you. It's got this, 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 and this. Do you want to be submitted? You go, yes. I said, great. I'm going to submit you. And then I project manage you and educate you and lead you through the
Right.
interview process to get you a job.
Right.
Now, here's what's crazy, right? I do that with 15, 20 other people at one time,
Right.
right? That's what people don't realize. Like literally recruiters, and that's why I tell people follow up. Because recruiters right now are trying to project manage like 15, 20 people at one time through the interview process. Not only that, but we're also trying to meet 15 new people a week. That's why I'm saying like recruiters, like I'm telling you, if you want like hiring managers watching this, if you want to hire somebody with a crazy good work ethic, hire a recruiter that's been in the industry for longer than a few years. Because like literally they're like the cream of the crop with how much we have to handle in the course of our week. It's insane. It's insane.
Amazing. So I want to mention that we have a couple messages that I didn't have a chance to mention from Twitch, LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere on one of my smaller channels. So
I love it. I love it.
good to see everyone here. So how do you manage all of that? Like, yeah, it's a lot, right?
I have what I call corporate ADD. So I basically like to balance a lot of things at one time. It's very difficult. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I think my superpower that a lot of people don't have is I can have like 90 spinning plates going on or juggle 90 things at one time. And I can do all 90 things 75% well.
Right.
Now, a lot of people would argue, well, Taylor, wouldn't it make sense to maybe instead of 90 things at 75%, maybe you do 50 things at 100%? No, because that's 40 less opportunities that could pop off. Right. And so it's something I've had to train myself. One of my old mentors back at Vaco, his name's Scott Gordon. He told me, he goes, when you're doing enough in this industry, when you don't know what's up from down. You don't know you are doing enough when you don't know what's up from down. So for me, now it is relatively unhealthy. I will give you this. I've dealt with burnout, but it's just the way I like to run in my job. I move very, very fast. I execute very, very fast. Some people would probably say, Taylor, you probably work too fast because you're not very detail oriented. And I'm not. I'm not. I don't get caught up in the details. I just execute. So it's something I've had to learn. But most recruiters, it's you just have to be really good at task management. Very good at task management. You have to be incredibly organized. So
Do you use any tool like Trello or any
no,
CRM?
I've tried Trello. I've tried Trello. I just am super strict on my calendar. So I actually did a live. My podcast. I did a live show on it recently about productivity hacks that I do, and I am super strict about my calendar. Like my calendar is on a every minute by the minute type of situation. So like literally like I have to schedule time to eat. I have to schedule time to go to the bathroom. Now, people laugh at me. They're
Yeah.
like, that's ridiculous. But that's what really makes me successful in my job because every minute is planned out in my day and it's just on cruise control. I just go, 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 go.
Cool. So I think we're gonna get to people's questions in a minute,
Yep.
but I want to ask you, your current title is what, like talent advocate, right?
Yep.
Something like that. What
Yep.
is it? What is that? What do you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's so funny. Me and my CEO were talking about it the other day. Even my title now does not encompass what I do. So, I mean, I would say so. Gun.io, for those of you who are listening, Gun.io is I just updated my header. So you're probably like, what the heck is Gun.io? Gun.io is a company I work for. It is a talent marketplace. So I have moved out of the traditional staffing space and I'm now in the talent marketplace side of things. And so not many people know what a talent marketplace is. So let me explain it super high level. So it kind of sets up the context for any more questions we may get around Gun.io and what I do. So talent marketplaces are a company that's built on a platform, right? So Gun.io has a platform, a hiring platform that we built internally with a team of engineers to where as a developer, you can apply to be on our platform and hiring managers can apply to be on our platform. And we connect hiring managers with the talent on our platform where they can talk to each other. It takes out a lot of the recruiting bandwidth because we kind of the platform already acts as a recruiter, if that makes sense. So like you submit your information, the hiring manager comes on our platform and then we help match you and that's it, right? So the talent marketplace, in my opinion, since I've worked in both now, in my opinion, is the next generation of recruiting. I really truly believe it's the next generation of recruiting. The problem is like I think one of the stats I've heard is that talent marketplaces only have less than 10% of the hiring landscape share, quote unquote. Like it only makes up about 8 to 10% of the hiring space. The other 90% I think is like staffing recruiting firms. So again, like very, very much an untapped market and people should look into it. So my job at Gun.io is I kind of do everything. My main job is heading up content and community at Gun.io. But I also am in the weeds helping engineering leaders hire better. And I also speak at conferences. I create content on my own. So not only do I help create content for Gun, I also do my own content thing. So yeah, it's just content, and helping job seekers find jobs faster and hiring managers scale their engineering teams faster.
Interesting. You said talent marketplace. That the way you describe sounds like LinkedIn, but it's obviously different, right? Like, is
Yeah.
it more exclusive?
But it's kind of like LinkedIn. Like when you sign up for a platform, you have to create a profile like a LinkedIn profile, right? I mean, it's very similar. The biggest difference with us is we technically vet every engineer we send over to you. That is something we pride ourselves on. We have a technical talent team that helps vet people. They're very, very good. And so we really are we are a mix, I would say, of staffing and consulting services. So we're a really good blend for companies that want to scale up pretty fast, especially in the startup space. Because since we already have technical talent managers on staff vetting people out, we can provide talent a lot faster to you.
Right. That's really interesting because traditionally, I've only seen like staffing agencies, and they make sense. Like as a company owner or like as a hiring manager, I go to one of these agencies and I say, I need to like fill these roles, find me these people, right? But it's
Yep.
different with you.
Yeah. 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 It's the biggest difference is if you called a staffing company and they go, hey, we need this person, they probably won't have that person available. They have to go find that person. Unless it's a crazy skill set, we already have that person ready to go. So
Mhm.
we kind of strive to provide you candidates in 24 to 48 hours.
Right. So it's like recruiting before like you have the positions.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I tell people just go to Gun.io, fill out your profile. We only really accept senior, like upper mids and senior developers, because at the end of the day, like companies only call us for that type of talent. But I'm in charge of the community aspect, which, allows people to, get involved with us in other ways. But yeah, so it's much more developers on tap type of situation.
Right. Yeah, to me it makes sense that they only reach out to you for senior talent. Junior
Yeah.
talent,
I mean,
they're kind of
people get,
everywhere, right?
yeah. I mean, listen, we get a lot of hate messages. I got rejected. Why did I get rejected? It's like, listen, we're not rejecting you per se. There's just no point of you being on our platform if you're never going to get called. Right. So again, yeah, we really try to curate our engineers on our platform because our product is our people.
Right. Cool. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So by the way, I should say the stream is not sponsored by Gun.io. This is
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
a
No.
Gun.io stream.
I just want to talk about
Um,
and talk about. I mean, some other good talent marketplaces. TopTal is kind of the big one. G2I, my
right.
friends over at G2I are really good too. So I just would check out talent marketplaces in general, just because not many people know what talent marketplaces are.
Yeah, I think that's good to know.
Yeah,
So Ellie is asking, do you think Gun.io will ever open up
Ellie, it's
to
good to see
junior
you.
level job seekers?
Uh, I No, and the reason is because a company can put up a job posting for a junior developer on their own, and they'll get 400 applicants. So until until there is a until companies start hiring junior developers at scale, like a lot more junior developers, I don't think they're ever gonna I don't think they're ever gonna come to us. And they're never gonna come to staffing companies either. Like when I was in the staffing world, I maybe placed 3 junior developers in the 12 years I was there. So
Right. Yeah, I think I get the picture. They post junior positions, they get them
I
right
mean,
away. So yeah, like
when there's a junior role posted in an organization, they can just send out like a company wide, like, hey, any engineers who have junior developer friends, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody
right.
knows a junior developer. So
Yeah.
no companies are going to pay us a 25% fee to go out and find a junior developer.
Right. No, makes a lot
So,
of sense.
but that's why I'm so passionate about content and community, because I want to help people level up. And so at Gun.io, we have a developer virtual meetup. We have the Discord where you can ask questions about the job search. I put out a ton of content. We're about to put a ton more content out for Gun.io. So yeah, again, that's why I'm so passionate about content, because it really helps people level up at scale.
Right. Makes sense. Okay. Let's go to our next question here. If you were to switch careers into tech right now, what would you do to stand out?
Listen, I'm gonna give Jason Torres a shout out here. He's in the comments. Honestly, talk to Jason. I think what Jason's doing now, granted, Jason is helping me on the side. I am paying him to help on the side, but aside from that, Jason has become a friend of mine. He's got a heart of gold. He is trying to get into tech, and Jason is literally doing what you need to do to get into tech, and that is to give back at scale, right? So what I would do is I would message Jason and be like, can we talk for 15 minutes? What are you doing? What you're doing? Jason is putting on a tech conference, a virtual tech conference in 2 weeks. Again, I can't be there. Sorry, Jason. I'll be on my baby moon. But like Jason's doing the thing. He's giving back. He's trying to help people. He's amplifying other people's voices on Twitter. If you are trying to get into tech, you need to give back as much as you feasibly can. Get on tech Twitter, have conversations, share tips, share feedback, get involved in Twitter spaces, like start engaging with people. It is a lot. Do not get me wrong. It is a lot. But if you are trying to break into tech, please message Jason, pick his brain, because he is one of the real ones.
Cool. I hope Jason will have the time to do it, and I'm sure he will. He's a really
Jason
kind
will.
person.
Jason
Yeah,
will.
no
I
pressure though.
know he will. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can't imagine being a junior person right now or switching careers into tech. That's
Well, I
that's like
want to talk
really
real quick. I want to talk something real fast. If you're trying to get into tech, you don't need to be a developer to get into tech. Let me say that one more time. You do not need to be a developer to get into tech. There are so many ways to get into tech without being a developer. You could be a recruiter like me. I'm in tech. I hang out. I would argue I'm more deep in tech than maybe some developers,
right.
right? Like I am deep in it and I'm a recruiter, right? I think you can, if you can be a business analyst or a data analyst or a project coordinator, or a project manager, or a scrum master, or a community. A lot of companies are hiring community people. If you know how to manage a Discord, that's a job. Putting out content. If you're a content creator, right? Gun.io is I'm essentially a corporate content creator, to be totally honest with you, right? Like if you want to summarize my job entirely, I'm a corporate content creator. And so like again, it's like you can get into tech in so many different ways and just being a developer. So I want to encourage you. I think it's very hard to be a developer right now, but like go and be a customer support specialist for a tech company and then slowly network your way into the tech department. There's many ways to get into tech right now than just a developer.
Yeah, I really like that, and I should give a shout out to Mo, who's on the backstage, who works at StreamYard, and he does like content stuff for StreamYard, which is a tech company. So there are a lot of non developer roles in
Yeah,
tech
exactly.
companies, I should say. Yeah,
Yep.
and okay, so switching gears a little bit here, you mentioned you got this interview with Gun.io. Again, not sponsored, hashtag not sponsored, but still, that story is kind of fascinating to me. You got laid off after 12 years or a long time, and then you just got this job. And one thing I saw from your like stream of content, like different things you post, is that the energy you bring to the room is really crucial. So
Yes.
did you use that to get
Yeah.
this job?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I didn't like, I feel like that's one of my superpowers is bringing a lot of energy to a conversation. I get really excited talking about tech and community and content. Um, I was always that kid in elementary school and middle school getting in trouble because I'd be so excited. I'd talk and like interrupt the class. And like, I just get excited. And I've realized that it's a superpower of mine. And so I've started to really channel it, with both speaking at conferences, and also just interviewing, right? And so for me, I really, when I interviewed at Gun, and I interviewed at other places too, I was very fortunate to have 2 offers at the very end. And yeah, I feel like I got hired. One of the reasons why I got hired is because I brought energy to every single conversation. I mean, when I interviewed at Gun, every single division wanted me, right? The
Wow.
manager of DevRel wanted me, the manager of marketing wanted me, the manager of product wanted me, right? And so like, I eventually got put on marketing just because of obviously all the content I put out. But again, I just truly think being your authentic self and bringing yourself into an interview and bringing energy and curiosity and interest, I think is a highly underrated skill that no one talks about.
No, I totally agree. It's something, yeah, like exactly what you say. It's super underrated. Not a lot of people do it. Do you do anything to like increase your energy level, or it's just who you are?
So today I have caffeine. So that helps. I have 3 lives today. I was telling YK backstage. I went on my podcast this morning. I have you, and then right after this, I will be on another live stream. But honestly, no. I mean, I actually don't do a bunch of caffeine anymore. I'm on decaf coffee now. Just today, I did caffeine just to get through 3 live streams. But for me, I just genuinely get excited. Like I think doing something that you get excited about is like, again, not talked about enough. Like for me, I I make right now, in full transparency, I make about 40% less than I was making.
Hmm.
40%, not 14, 40.
Right.
But I love what I do right now. Now, does the lack of money suck? Of course. Me and my family have had to make different sacrifices. We're still trying to figure it out, right? Like it's tough, but I love what I do. And that gets me out of bed at 5 a.m., right? To like start getting started. I'm no 4 a.m.er like Jason, but I'm a 5 a.m.er for the 5 a.m. club because I love it. I love it. I
Right.
absolutely love it and really am addicted to it. So
That's awesome. So I think, some people, like, just to play the devil's advocate, some people would say stuff like, "Oh, you're helping someone else build their dream instead of your own." But I mean, if you love it, who cares, right?
yeah. Are you talking about just me working for Gun.io and not myself?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, listen. So it's so funny you brought this up. Gun.io, the CEO actually questioned me on this. He
Right.
was like, well, he goes, like when I was interviewing, he goes, "Why don't you do this on your own?" I love building organizations and teams. I just love it. I love being able to move a company forward. I think in terms of my longevity in this career, it's going to be mean more if I can build up a company than just myself. Because at the end of the day, being able to say, "Hey, I grew a company's content creation and community from nothing to something," is a lot greater impact than me just doing it myself. And so I also love working alongside people. I don't want to be a lone wolf. That's just not how I'm wired. And really I love fixing problems within organizations, especially around content, community, and sales.
Right. Yeah, I think that's totally fair. And I get, what you say about like being genuine, bringing your, I guess, whole self and energy. I can feel it here too. And just a quick aside, it's something I noticed, through my own interview process too, because I've been going through like a few interview processes
Sure.
recently, and I'm like consistently getting this feedback, like, oh, they liked you, and like they had like good things to say about you. And I think some of it had stuff to do with like my technical abilities, but I feel like more of it is like just my energy and like how I talk and how I'm genuine, not lying and stuff like that.
Right, right.
It's like basic stuff, but
Yep.
I think it helps.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It 100% helps.
All right, so I want to cover a few more questions, if
Okay.
that's okay with you.
I love it. Let's do
I
it.
think we have like about 10 more minutes left here. So one, more junior kind of oriented. One is more senior-ish. So this one for junior people out there is how to get our first job.
Man, listen, I think again, going back to getting your first job, I'm assuming in tech, it's gonna require meeting a lot of people, a lot of people. It is going to require you to network in your town. It's going to require you to talk to strangers. But the for me, the one metric to hold yourself to is try to talk to 2 people a day. 2 people a day. One person is outside of your network and one person is inside your network. And you're probably like, "Well, Taylor, if I'm trying to get a job in tech, why would I talk to somebody in my network?" I don't know. Somebody in your network could run a small mom and pop shop and they need a website built for $20,000 or $10,000, and boom, you got yourself a project, right? So leave no stone unturned. I've used this story lately, and I think it's a great illustration of the job search. So I have a daughter; she's 4 years old, almost 4, and she has a stuffy, like an animal that she likes to carry around with her still. we call it pink cop. It's a bunny rabbit and it's pink. We call it pink cop. It is a living, breathing person in our household at this point. So pink cop got lost one day. She has a tendency to lose them. And it was right before bed. And my daughter has to have pink cop to go to bed. She has to have it. Every night she gets to bed, she goes, "Where's pink cop?" Literally, she freaks out. Sometimes it could be next to her, and she goes, "Where's pink cop?" I'm like, "Child, look, it's right next to you." So one night she goes, "Dad, I need pink cop." I said, "Okay, I'll go find pink cop." Couldn't find him. Was outside. I was looking outside. It's like walking around our property. It was like nighttime. I was like trying to find it, flashlight, looking everywhere. And I was like, "Great, I can't find it. She's gonna have a freak out." But I looked at her room and I looked under her bed and there was a pillowcase there. And it looked flat. Okay, it looked flat. So I kept looking, and I went to my daughter. I said, "Baby, I can't find it. I don't know where it is." I said, "I think you've lost it." She goes, "No, I know where it is." I was like, "Great, you could have told me this a while ago." She goes to her room, under her bed, she grabs the pillowcase, and it's in the pillowcase. And that's what the job search is.
Right.
It's literally finding a job in the most unlikely scenario. I got the job at Gun.io because my biggest competitor in Nashville, an engineering recruiter in Nashville, asked me to go to coffee because he wanted to help me. And in my mind, I said, "What's another tech recruiter going to be able to do to help me?" And he made the introduction to Gun.io, and the rest is history. So leave no stone unturned, folks.
Yeah, I like that story. I think we're just gonna keep going with the questions.
Sure.
Let's do it. So Abhay is asking, do open source contributions and freelance work count as experience when applying for a senior level position?
So it does. It can. It depends how you write it on your resume. I think one of the biggest issues is most freelance/consultants don't know how to really write their resume well enough as a freelancer to be able to show their adequate experience. But yes, they do count. I would say, depending on how much you have, if you only have a year of open source contributions and freelance work, that's not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough to get you a job as a senior. If you've been freelancing for 6-7 years, you've worked on some pretty high profile projects, you've done a fair amount of open source contributions that you can point to, then yes, that'll be able to. But again, it's just how you write your resume and display this information, because for the most part, most freelance consultants I've worked with do not put enough information in their resume to show what they've actually done.
Yeah. So, what I've been recommending for this is putting all of this in a single like LinkedIn experience section. Like, basically have a business for yourself. Create your own LinkedIn page, and then put like all the open source contributions and like freelance experience. Multiple clients. Just put them in the single section so that it looks like it's 1 year block of experience or like 2.
Yeah, keep it together, right? So like when you separate things out, like you have like professional work experience, side projects, open source like you have these segments, it's very hard to like know how long you've been doing all of it. Just professional experience. If you can point to it and you can talk to it, whether you're getting paid or not, it is professional work experience. So just put it all under one. Now, but notate it like, hey, this is an open source contribution. Hey, this is a freelance project. Hey, this is a full-time job. Notate that, but put it all under professional work experience.
Cool. And I think we'll quickly get through the last question here. I see a lot of comments and emotes on different platforms, including Twitch. I appreciate everyone being here. So let's do this last question if you're ready for it. And then we'll chat, or we'll just like go offline. We'll see. But the question is this: did you go over how to improve LinkedIn a little bit? someone with 3 years of experience.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hit 3 main parts of LinkedIn. Like I said, I do this on the side consulting. If you want to inquire about me on the side and my consulting rates, I will go over this. I typically go over resumes and LinkedIn's with folks. I don't publicly promote it because I don't want to be known as a resume LinkedIn writer, but I do it, and I feel like I do it well. Everybody who has worked with me has been able to find a job. And so for me, the 3 most important parts of a LinkedIn is 1, your title portion. So your title portion is the words under your profile picture. That is arguably your SEO for your profile, right? So that is what recruiters look at before they pull up your profile. And so like you need to put like 3+ year software developer with Java and React and Node, right? Like that's important. Your next second most important thing is writing your LinkedIn with enough buzzwords to be able to get caught up in searches from recruiters, right? If you write your LinkedIn and you don't include a lot of buzzy tech terms, like you're not going to get caught up with it. And then finally, another underrated thing is references, recommendations. Make sure that you have them because they're incredibly important. Recommendations, references are kind of like when you Google a restaurant, what do you look at? You look at their Google reviews, right? And I'm not saying like I've gone to restaurants before and they've had bad Google reviews, don't get me wrong, but it definitely helps set the tone. So make sure you have them. But the real Raymond Jones, I have a LinkedIn, a YouTube with a bunch of this content. Actually, the real Raymond Jones, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn now, I'm about to go live at noon Central here in 14 minutes. And all we're going to be doing is talking about resumes and LinkedIn's. So
Nice. So many live things.
I'm tired.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so I feel like we went through a lot of stuff here. I did say one last question, but Jason is asking. I think he's asking me. I'm not gonna answer it here. This is not about me. This is about Taylor. So please tell us about your open source opinions. Hey, it's kind of big questions, but any thoughts?
I love it.
Any thoughts, Taylor? Wait.
Oh, I think open source is a great way to get involved. I would check out Open Sauce. My friend Brian Douglas, CEO founder at Open Sauce. He's great, and Open Sauce is a great way to get involved with open source contributions. So I'm a fan of it. I think people should do it. I think it's a great way to network. It's a great way to meet new people, and it's a great way to get experience.
I love that. I think you put it kind of pretty much exactly the way I would have put it.
Yep.
All right. I'll say thank you so much for being here, Taylor. Really appreciate you,
That was great.
Be here earlier than we planned. So that's amazing. And extra shout out to Mo, who's in the backstage again from StreamYard. Again, not sponsored by StreamYard, but we are using StreamYard for this, and it's worked well. So that's really good for us. Mo, if you have like something quick to say, feel free to put it in the private chat or comments. And otherwise, we're just gonna go offline. I think I'm gonna give you some time to get ready for your next live stream, Taylor.
Thank you so much, YK. Thank you for having me, y'all. And again, if you guys have any questions, please connect with me. I will be glad to answer them. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Taylor.
Peace.
All right. Bye, everyone.